Hello, my true crime lovelies. How are you? I hope you are well. I hope you are as lovely in life as you are in my mind. Was last week crazy or what? Or was it just me? It was a busy week. I don't know why. Well, Sugar Bear did not go to class except for Monday. We tried 2 other days and it just didn't work. So that made things interesting. But you know what? We made it through. And yeah, we're here. Sweet Pea is here, aka Sir Poops a Lot. He's nursing. I'm sure you hear him breathing as he's doing that. But that's not why we're here. We are here because our favorite villain has drawn us together once again. I've got updates from Miss Sarah Catherine Paulson Boone and her ongoings at Lowell Annex. So let's hop right into it. Some of this is really to answer questions that people ask me. I don't always know, but I am not afraid to find out, honey. We're going to just start with the basics. Incarceration summary, right? So some of this we've seen before, some of it we've not. Oh, shoot, I forgot to run the intro. I'm a little rusty. Let's run the intro. I want to thank the members. I want to thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And yeah, then I'll see you on the other side. All right, there we go. I'm also going to address some of the calls or some things from the calls. Hopefully you've had a chance to watch them over on Hear Me Out. Or if you want to watch them with no commentary, I believe they're over on Patreon. I just can't give it a view or a dollar, not a cent. I can give them my 2 cents, but not a real cent. Okay, so we've got all of this. If you haven't seen it before, just as like her demographic information, what she's in for, how long she's in for. She's not eligible for any gain time, but that is a default on here on this form. She came into Lowell Annex on the 4th of April and she's been there since. She was disciplined. We did go over that for lying to staff. Surprise, surprise. Oh, wait, no. Where's Gomer? He can do it for us. Like, she was disciplined for lying. Are we surprised?
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
I'm not. Yeah, that's a thing. She had no commissary for 30 days, right? So I can't remember, you guys who've watched the calls. So for 30 days I would have gotten her to June, but I don't think we've heard a call that is that late. I heard one and I'm getting confused because then Jumpsuit Pablo watched one and he gave a shout out to Hear Me Out for finding the video. He said if you've already had surgery, you're not in with the general population. And she mentions, because she makes that thing of like, who she's talking to said, you've been moved? And she's like, I will be after my surgery. I don't think she had the surgery in May or June. I think that was like an April call, but I might be mixing them up because there's also the call, I don't know if it's separate and apart or if it's the same, where she is asking for a lawyer and the person she's talking to is like, ask the judge. And I just looked in the court docs. She filed the motion to request a lawyer in her civil case April 20th or thereabouts. And so it would have to be before that, right? So it's either early April, late March, I'm thinking. She doesn't know when Brian is, or even she, for that matter, either of them is meant to file their financial affidavit, which makes me think it does matter that she didn't tell the court that she's moved to the annex. Like her mail is spending some time in limbo because we see when it's going out on the docket. I report it to you guys straight away. So why would she not have had it by the end of April? She turned in her financial affidavit a month late. She didn't turn it in until 5:30. And even that, she had filed a motion to ask if she could turn in the written one first. And then she said she would remedy that later. Well, we know she never remedied that. She never sent it in on the proper form. Please hold. So yeah, I think her address is impacting her ability to get these things on time. She turned in her financial affidavit late. She never did the proper form. Listening to them on the call, I mean, I showed you guys in a video. All you have to do is like, I took the form number from the bottom of Brian's financial affidavit. I Googled it and I got the blank form. So I am not sure if at that point, you know, the people who were flying for her were kind of over her or didn't want to put in the effort, but it was pretty straightforward. She keeps thinking her files are locked. They're not locked. You just have to be registered on that website in order to access the family court files. A lot of you guys have said, yeah, what if it's there and we can't see it because we don't have access? Even if it was, there's different like classifications on there. It would still be filed, but it could be protected. It would say that. That's not the right word. But there's nothing happening that doesn't hit the docket, if that makes sense. Even if we can't see all of the details, we would be able to see the filing of it. I'm going to just show you really quick so it makes more sense what I'm saying about her family court case. So I am a registered user on this website, on the Orange County Clerk website. It has like public, which because I'm a registered user, I can see it. If you're not a registered user, it'll just say non-public. You won't be able to see it. But then you have this viewable on request, and then you have confidential, which you have to have like if I were her lawyer or whatnot, I would be able to see that, right? And then you have sealed. It's not open. It won't open here at all. I believe if you're an attorney, it's sent to you directly, but you still are not viewing it on here. So even if the judge had filed something and didn't want us to see it, it would still list something here and it would be red with this little lock on it, or it would be blue. Any document that falls under confidentiality statute and is therefore only viewable by certain users, or sealed, any document that has been sealed by court order, therefore it is only viewable by certain users. And you would see the court order there. We saw that in the Adelson case, right? When they sealed and accidentally unsealed the notice on Rob Adelson. That was one of the first Adelson videos that I did. Okay, anyway, let's go back here. Tangent? Why, of course. Her initial type of custody is close. She's in close custody.
They keep an eye on her, honey.
Since January of this year. All the names that she's known by, her AKAs, aliases, internal movements as of 11/7. So here, these are the jobs that she has. She currently is listed as being in laundry. So there were questions about this. I think you guys saw it on another channel. Is this when she had her surgery? She's not here. Well, it's only 5 days. She gets classified as nothing on the 13th of June. And then 5 days later, she gets classified back to houseman. In August, she became in the laundry. One of you guys asked about classification. She's not been in classification. She's been physically in the classification department because that's where she has her hearings. I know that because when she was disciplined, it was about lying to the classification officer when they let her in, or actually when they took her out. She had a tablet. They said, "Why do you have a tablet?" And she said, "Blah, blah, blah, said I could have a tablet." And that was the lie. And so she got punished because of course they went and asked blah, 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 and blah, 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 literally wrote in her report, "I know nothing about this. I do not know what she's talking about." So yeah, that is all of her deets there. Then I'm going to go to her visitation and who has applied for her visitation. I was trying to get the report, the application, but they didn't send me that for our Australian FM. So this person was approved in April of this year. Spoiler alert, no one has come to visit her since she has been in the DOC, in the FDOC, in the penitentiary. They couldn't visit her in person in county unless you're like a lawyer. A professional person could go, but a lay person couldn't. But now that she can be visited, I'm surprised no one is. Okay, so look at this. We have Brian's application. Brian actually sent it in. He's a man of his word. He signed it on 8/21. It's time stamped or date stamped somewhere in here, 8/25. I'll go back to that.
More or less. I had sent them something.
Hold up, Miss Boone.
I never heard anything back from them about it. So I guess they never got that one. I have since submitted it.
All right, when did you submit something?
The end of last week.
You have a date you can give?
I think it was Friday.
Friday, which would have been the 22nd, I believe.
Correct.
I love that he puts where did you meet this inmate? Former wife. And then he doesn't circle family, and he's other. Like, what's the relationship? Other. Circle one.
You just told me 2 weeks ago that you received money in regards to the visitation applications that I sent to you.
Well, yes, that wasn't a letter to me. That was an envelope with some applications in
So
it.
yeah, that is just pretty straightforward. Obviously, you don't have to put place of employment, even though she kept accusing him of not wanting to submit this because he would have to put his place of employment. But we knew that before because we looked at Peter's application and he had not listed a place of employment. So here's all of his other paperwork. Like, this is where the prison staff is looking at it and checking it off and either approving or denying. So they went through all of this. And then we have her son's application. He did the same thing, except he has to put, where did you meet this inmate? He puts, my mother. That's got to be hard. Thank God I've never had to write into a prison for visitation to my mother. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you, Mom. Well, no, she's that way in California. Family 821. For some reason, this gets submitted twice. I think I know why, but let's go through this. So again, the prison staff fill this out. He's okay. That's on 9/16. I want to look at the date. That is also 8/21 that it was signed. So remember, in court, when we were at the trial, that came up at the family court trial because the judge asked Brian, when did you submit it? And he said last week. And she was like, do you have a date? He was like, Friday. I believe that was 8/21 because we went, it was the 25th, 25, 24, 23. So he sent it, if he sent it on Friday, that would have been the 22nd. So they filled it out on the 21st on Thursday. He dropped it in the mail Friday and they got it by Monday. So Brian is a man of his word. And then it says Brian C. Boone has had visitation privileges denied. Reason G Max approvals met. So it's something on Sarah's side. So as soon as I saw this, I texted Suma because he was denied and the son was approved. And so I was like, eat gas. How is that going to work? Because he needs to be accompanied by an adult. And then, fear not, the next day on the 17th, he was approved. Brian was approved. Okay, hopefully that didn't scare you because that is how I experienced it. I was like, wait, what? We got a little chuckle. It's because I'm multitasking. So here you see this one is stamped received August 25th and it was a duplicate. I'm not sure why. So they just wrote that on there like already received, already approved, nothing changed. I'm imagining Miss Boone got the denial and of her former husband and also the approval of her son and like chewed somebody out. And so they figured it out. It's not, I don't think specifically to Sarah, because like I said, she hasn't had anyone come to visit her. So I'm wondering if it's like the whole pod. I'm not sure what it was, like X number of people can be approved, but something was going on there. So here is her visitors as of the 23rd of October. So we've got Brian, he's approved. The son is approved. Now, Julian and Peter have this mark, RMV I/M request. So I am interpreting that. Can you guys see that okay? I could be wrong because I don't work in the prison. Removed inmate's request. Doesn't say the date, but is that you guys, are you picking down are you picking up what I'm putting down? And then, of course, the Australian FM was approved before. Brenda and David, who have Heller and Keller, have been approved. Danielle has been approved. Philip has been approved. She has not submitted her photo. It says awaiting photo, but she has been approved. And then I asked for the visiting history and there's no records found. So you see this here. Each of these, there's a plus sign. If you hit it, it drops down. So this is a minus. It dropped down to no records found. And that is for the entirety of her time in FDOC. So really quickly, I want to go over, because these are questions I get every time too, about the phone calls and are they all collect? They are not all collect. You have the option to get a prepaid call. We're learning so much. So you can get a prepaid card. Deposit fee per funding of the card is 99 cents. Now, whether you take collect or you do a card, it's 13 and a half cents. Those were the changes. And then there's just details. There's one of the new features is inmate voicemail. So friends and family can leave incoming voicemail messages. They can't call her, right? There's no way to call and she picks up the phone, but they can leave a voicemail. So it helps friends and family stay connected even when their loved one's not available. It's also 13.5 minutes cents per minute. We heard about that in the family court trial. So there are 2 free 5-minute calls per month. Free calls are applied to the first 2 calls made by the inmate at the time the free calls are provided. So on the very first call we heard, she says, oh, that the first call was short because that was my free 5-minute call. And she talks about saving it to give it away. So we also were speculating in chats about, like, is she bartering for things? We hear about her borrowing deodorant. I can't remember the date for that. That might have been the time that she was that at Orange County, or was that, it might have been when she was on disciplinary action, but now I'm like, it might have been at Orange County. Because I know when she did, they're all blurring together. When she did the pre-sentencing, she was still in Orange County. But on Jumpsuit Pablo's video, he says she's going to be convicted. He doesn't realize she's already in. She spells it out, Annex, Annex on that call. She's already in Lowell Annex, so she's already been convicted. But of course, everybody is not obsessed with her in the way that I am. So, okay. And then what changes are there to call duration? So previously they had a 15-minute limit. We've seen that on the call logs, which we're going to go through next. Now they have 30 minutes. I think it's been 30 minutes since you and I have been being nosy with her calls, but I don't know when this was written up. And then there is a 30-minute waiting period between each call completed. So that throws a little monkey wrench in Brian's plan. So if she did talk to her son for 30 minutes, she'd have to wait 30 minutes and then she'd be able to call him again. So poor guy would be like an hour and a half of his time. What other fees exist? There is a small fee per transaction. Fees can be reviewed prior to completing a transaction. This fee works much like any other bank fees and is only charged with the prepaid account. So in that regard, it would be cheaper just to do a collect call because the collect call has no deposit fee. However, if you're trying to manage the money, like what Brian is saying, X amount of time per month, right? So he can have control over he would do a prepaid. Because then when that card is up for the month, when you're out of money, you're out of time, honey. So, yeah. No money, no time, Miss Sarah. All right. And then there's there's more detail on here. Advance pay, prepaid, calling for family and friends. So I just wanted to clarify for whoever asked me that question. It does not have to be a collect call. The person who's receiving it is still paying for it, but they've paid for it in advance of that. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So I ran the calls the last time we went over them through September, mid-September. So we're going to pick up on September 21st. She's talked to Philip, for her brother, for 14 minutes. I should just, in case this is your first time, welcome. But this also has, so it's the date, the phone. This is the phone located inside the prison. The result, so it's either called party hung up, time up, inmate hung up, or sometimes I think it says not accepted. The time that the call came in, and it's also a military time, so 1845 would be 6:45, and then it has a duration, 49 seconds, and it tells you what type of call, if it was prepay, public, free call, and then there's one more prepaid type. When we see it, we'll talk about it. Okay, so she called her brother. They talked for 14 minutes on the 21st. She called her son back to back. The last time we talked about that, the hearing was 8:25. She called him immediately after the hearing when his dad would have been driving from Orlando back to their hometown. I just feel like she had to be annoyed after that call. I don't know why she would call her son other than to just verbally abuse him. Could be wrong. Hope I'm wrong. But then we have, son, she talks to him for 2 minutes, 21 seconds at 6:09. Then she calls him back at 7:38, talks for almost the full 30 minutes. Then she gets a free call and she talks for 4 minutes and 43 seconds. That is the next day, 9:22. She calls him at 6:28. So it's the free call. And then they were out. And then let's see, the the 22nd. Then she calls him back at 8:22, and they talk for another 30 minutes. Good Lord. Then the 23rd, she talks to him for almost 30 minutes. And then the 24th, 30 minutes. And then on the 25th, 16 seconds, and he hung up. Probably like, hey, Mom, I'm running out. Call me in 10 minutes or whatever. Because I know she's on that one call. Like, they told me to call back in half an hour. And stupid me, I called back and they didn't answer. Like, maybe they're busy. And then she accuses Brian of not wanting him to talk, or encouraging the son not to talk to her. I don't see that. It seems like a pattern of the son wants to talk to his mom. And I think all of us have that, probably, I don't know, our mama bear of like protect him from her. But I think it's more dangerous if he wants to talk to her. It creates a more volatile situation and you prohibit it. Like, he's got to own that relationship. She's got to own her side of the relationship, right? It's not for the dad to say, no, absolutely not. I think it's just restrictions on there. That's my opinion of like what's in the best interest of the child. Are you going to do more harm by telling him no, he can't talk to her at all? Because then why? What's your reasoning? You know? Okay, so then she calls him again on the 25th and they talk for 7 minutes. Those are all prepaid. Then I believe this is a flying monkey. This is a new number for the flying monkey, but the amount of calls and the area code is the same one the flying monkey used before. So you know who she is. I'm not going to say her name. So at 11:14, and I think you guys said there's a 13-hour time difference, like in New Zealand, they're 13 hours ahead. It's like Back to the Future. So they talked at 11:14 Eastern time for 29 minutes, 37 seconds. On the 26th and the 27th, they talked for 30 minutes, and she talked to her son on the 27th, 49 seconds, 27th, almost 30 minutes. 28th for 7 minutes, 30th. Oh, wait, sorry. On the 28th, she talked to Brian, and that was for 7 minutes. And then on the 28th, she talked to, sorry, I've got a glare on my glasses. On the 30th, she then talked to Brian for 4 minutes. She called him at 8:42 in the morning. Good Lord. And he hung up. Then she calls him on the 30th again at 10:33. They talk for 3 minutes, 42 seconds, and she hangs up. Then time is up. So they time out basically on this call. She talks to her son on the 30th at 7:50 in the evening for 30 minutes. Then she talks to her flying monkey for 30 minutes on October 1st. So 9:30, I think, is when she finally got her closing argument into the court. So it was like almost a month late. She throws the flying monkey under the bus in one of the calls because she says regarding the document that tells the court what you want, your pretrial conference discussion, because she says, oh, she messed up the attorney's fees and blah, blah, blah. At that point, Lana is no longer with us. So I'm inferring that it's her friend in New Zealand. So then she talks to the son for 7 minutes and 37 seconds. Then she's back with the New Zealander on the 2nd for almost 30 minutes. And then again, so that's at 9:02 a.m. and then at 10:36. So they would have talked from 9:02 to 9:32. She couldn't talk again until 10:02, but she talks to her at 10:36. They talk for almost 30 minutes. Then we have the son. They talk for 15 minutes on the 2nd. New Zealand for almost 30 minutes. Inmate hangs up. Okay, here we have the other prepay. Prepay, APOC, APOC, not sure. We have the son, October 3rd for 30 minutes. Hang on one second. Oh, yeah. October 3rd for 30 minutes. Liberty. Shh. Then Liberty. We have October 4th for almost 30 minutes with the son. She talks to her brother on October 5th at 2:02 for 18 minutes. Now, she said her brother was in Israel when she was in family court. Don't you usually have to have like a satellite phone? Maybe he just has an international card. I don't know. When she said it, it just rang so untrue.
It's difficult when my family is deceased and my younger brother is in the military on his 9th deployment in Israel.
And he's not in the military anymore, at least according to his LinkedIn. He hasn't been in a while. He does government contract work. Maybe she knows that and she's saying military to the judge to sort of ignite, I don't know, some nostalgia or some allegiance. I don't know what, but he's not. He's no longer in the military. David LaFontaine of the Blind and Deaf Dog fame. Son, she talked to on the 5th of October, 1707. And then somewhere around here, because the court gets her note on her birthday, 10/10, but somewhere around here is when she writes the note throwing Peter under the bus about the service. So I don't think that he would still have durable power of attorney because she's removed him from the visiting and everything else if they've truly, fallen out. Someone was like, oh, why would they need it? She would need a durable power of attorney because she's expecting money from Brian, right? In the prison, she can have no more than $300 at a time. So if he's sending her this, in her mind, $62,000, she needs someone on the outside, someone in the free world to manage that money and drip, drip, drip it to $300 a month. Now, remember once she wrote in one of the letters, like she wanted him to pay her for 18 3/4 years, a monthly amount, which I think is laughable. Like, girl, he's trying to get rid of you in 3 years. When your son reaches 18, he'll be like, never, ever, ever. It's not like you're going to the wedding when the son gets married or the christening when he has a kid. Like, Brian is trying to be done with you, not get hitched to you for another 18.
Man.
So we can see here, son. So she's got on the 5th, 7:30. I hope she's not pressuring him. Like, where is the application? Although she knows by now, because I think they notified her on 9/16 for the son and 9/17 for the husband, former husband. So then on the 6th, she's talking to her son for 4 minutes. He hangs up. That was a free call, so it's not unexpected. It's 4 minutes, 40 seconds. I think the max on that call is 5 minutes. So they hung up. Then Danielle, she talks to for 30 minutes on the 7th. She talks to her son on the 7th for 30 minutes. She calls him at 6 o'clock at night, which looks better. Before she was calling him early in the morning. And I'm like, ma'am, it was summertime, but still, I was the kind of kid, I'm sleeping in late in summertime, unless my mom had a list of activities or something that required me to leave the house, I'm sleeping in. But he doesn't even drive at this age. Okay, so 30 minutes, she talks to him on the 9th, and then on her birthday, she calls Brian, she talks to him for 7:42. She's still like, is that a manipulation tactic? I feel like her birthday, she needs to talk to Brian. He would do the video visits when she was in Orange County, Valentine's Day, Christmas. Like, I think it's so weird to want to hang out with your ex-husband on Valentine's Day or even on your birthday. I don't call my exes. Am I missing out, guys? Are you guys all doing that? Are you calling your exes on your birthday? Well, hopefully you're not in prison. Let them call you. Don't be that thirsty. She talks to her brother on her birthday for 14 minutes. She calls him again. They talk for another 30 minutes and they time out. Wow. Then she talks to her son again. Oh no, this is her first time talking to him on her birthday. The other one was the 9th, right? Yeah. So she talks to her son on her birthday for almost 30 minutes. Then on the 11th, she's talking to Brian for 4 minutes. Then her son on the 11th, 29 minutes. She's calling him a lot more. I think she's getting thirsty for the money. She's probably in there telling him about her deodorant problems and her surgery and goodness gracious. I'm guessing something to do with her ovaries for the 7-inch scar. I can't think of anything else unless it's heart related. Could be liver related, but I don't think she's getting a transplant. They could be removing part of her liver. I don't know. Whatever it is, it wasn't just laparoscopic. So son, 3 minutes, then 24 minutes with the son on the 12th. Then we have New Zealand, 4 minutes, the free call, then 30 minutes. She called at 11:32. So then she talked to her son at 7:46 on the 13th of October. 14th of October, she talked to David LaFontaine for almost 30 minutes. And then she hung up. And then we have Flying Monkey at 9:51 on the 15th. They talk for almost 30 minutes. And then again on the 17th, they talk for 15 minutes and 43 seconds. So what do you guys think? Peter's not on here. So it's interesting because this is how I figured out that Sarah had stopped talking to Lana. I knew what was going on behind the scenes, but I didn't know that it was officially over. Like, because I remember when Lana sent me a note of like, she's giving me this ultimatum, and I was like, I don't want to get in the way of your friendship. Like, I was, because originally I was under the impression she had never had a kidney transplant. So I was talking to her about that. Come to find out she had one, the one her brother gave her, and then it failed. And so she'd already gone through the procedure. But by that time we were already talking. So I was like, I don't want you to lose your friendship with her, because obviously it felt like it was an important friendship. But anyway, through the call log, and then I'm reporting it out, and then she finally said something. I wasn't going to bug her about it. Like, I'm not that, if you want to tell me, tell me. It is what it is. I can see what's happening, but I wasn't pressuring her. So it's interesting because other people are like, oh, did you hear? And I was like, I didn't, but thanks for the tip that they're not talking anymore. And so, yeah. It fits here. I mean, there could still be tablet messages, but I just like to look for patterns of consistency or inconsistency, and then there's usually something there. It's the former auditor in me. Yeah, so that is what's going on with Miss Sarah Boone. I'm hoping any day now Judge Jackson drops down the order, but a lot of you guys I can't remember whose chat we were in, made the very great point of she's probably working on cases where one of the parents is not incarcerated and the child is in actual danger, right? Because relative to like other cases, Sarah's incarcerated. She can't really harm her son. She's only talking to him on the phone, and it's been 5 years now. It was 5 years in February of this year. So it's not like she can do any more harm than what she's already done. Someone else said it's like 120 days that she has to respond, or to give the order, excuse me. I don't know if that's 120 days from when the closing was due, when it actually was received. So we'll just have to wait and see, because I know Danny sent out a text message today that it's from Danielle Chavon's channel. I think we're at 90 days from August 25th. Oh, and Sarah's appellate brief is due today. However, David Maldonado has not put in a notice of appearance on the 6th District Court of Appeals website. So I don't know if it's going to extend it because, Judge Kranick added that extra amended thing. That just hit the docket last week on the appellate court side. So I'll keep an eye on it. This may be an anomaly. I don't think she's going to, it's going to toll that the appellate brief was late, because we're kind of in limbo because of this he's stretching, because of this kind of like glitch or whatever. So we're waiting. So I'm expecting like notice of appearance to show up, and then he'll file some sort of, this will be the extenuating circumstance that the appellate board referenced was necessary in order to trigger another extension. So we'll see. But I told you Emily Baker was saying she doesn't think it'll happen until March. I don't know. Maybe we can get Kurt from Uncivil Law to explain like the appellate process. And I watched one of his videos today. He did, oh my God, who's this lunatic on TikTok, DoorDash girl? He did an update on, I have to look into her because it's here in New York. But yeah, he did an update on her, but he said he's a licensed attorney in Texas. So I think he just passed the bar, because I remember in his members videos, maybe 2 years ago, I can't remember exactly, but he was studying for the bar. So it sounds like he passed it in Texas. Anyway, he knows. He's filed appellate briefs, if I'm not mistaken. He's definitely done Supreme Court stuff. So I would think that would be some appellate stuff. But, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just here with my 2 cents. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. I hope you are well. Let me know how you're doing. How's the weather? It's very cold. I had on a hat today, if you can't tell. Sugar Bear went out here with a hat. This one had a little hat on, and he had his bunny suit on. It's chilly. It's fall, y'all. It's about to be winter, I guess. It was nice, though. It was nice. It wasn't uncomfortable. I liked the crispness of it all. Are you winking at me? Or are you just opening up with one eye? All right, on that note, I will talk to you later. Toodles.